Okay, this will be the second part of the series on using Word to create a publishable manuscript. Before we get going now, I'd like to just note that none of this is particularly easy. What I'm trying to do is give people a sense of what is doable in Word. I've been working with Word for over 30 years in legal documents, which are in fact more complicated than manuscripts. But what I'm trying to do is show you that Word is capable of doing and ending up with what I think is a professional looking manuscript. I know there are other word processing programs out there. I don't use them. So I'm not saying they do or don't do what Word does. All I can say, I use Word, and I've been using it for a very long time. We started, in part one, we spoke about styles, which define the way a paragraph looks and how it works. And we created 3 styles in a raw document. We created heading 1, which is an embedded style in Word. We created text, which is virtually the entire document. And we created first paragraph, which is the first paragraph of every chapter. Now we're going to talk about sections. Now, sections is simply how Word breaks up things. And you can do certain things and apply them to one section and not apply them in another section. And we'll talk about that as I just go through. And I will begin with this document, which is what I used for creating PDF of my first novel, Rosemary Campbell. And the reason I wanted to show this to you is that it has a number of sections. This front page is a section, okay? And this is a section. You see section break. The table of contents is a section. Section break, next page. We'll talk later about blank pages. This is a new section, okay? First chapter, okay? Boom, boom, boom. Section break, next chapter. Now, you could simply have the entire, after you begin the first chapter, you can have the entire balance of the document as a single section. Here's why I don't do that, okay? And it's pretty simple. Each section has a even number page and an odd number page. And you can see I have one header for the even number page and one header for the odd number page. And throughout this entire document, that's what we have, okay? Even page, odd page, even page, odd page. However, Word allows you to do a little thing for the first page of a section, which is why I have a section break before each chapter. Here it is. So I can have a third header, if you will, which has nothing, okay? See, nothing. And I just think that looks more professional. So let's switch to the document we were working on this morning. Okay, and in this document, we'll go to home because we'll see it has text style, first page style, first paragraph style, and of course a header style. Those are the 3 styles we focused on. Okay. You may recall that we created another style for letters, but that's not neither here nor there at this point. I do want to note that what we do from now on in creating a print copy is usable for your ebook copy. In other words, with a couple of exceptions. Let's go to Roachine. With a couple of exceptions, and basically the table of contents more than anything else, and the drop caps. Okay, I took this document and I uploaded it to Drafted Digital to create the EPUB I use for ebooks. So my point is, you can get all the stuff done. And there are a couple of very small things you have to change between this and the ebook version. You don't have to worry about all this stuff on the top. So you might as well do it as you go along, because I think it actually looks nicer when you have this type of stuff when you're reading it. And when you're proofing it, I think it looks nice, but that's maybe just me. But you go along and you set it up as if you're going paper. With respect to the table of contents and the drop caps, everything is the same. We just upload it to Draft to Digital to EPUB, which you then can use for KDP by simply uploading an EPUB to KDP. So where were we? Okay, now you might as well do this early. It makes life much easier for you. This is 8.5 by 11. Some of my books I have it's 5.5 by 8.5, but my preference now is 6 by 9. So we're going to get used to the layout thing. There are three things that are here that are important. There's the margin, there's the size, and there's the break. We're going to use that a lot. We're not going to use the size often, because once we change the size, you simply go down more page sizes, okay? And it's pretty straightforward. You just put in this case, 6 by 9. And because there are no sections in this document, it applies to the whole document. Boom. So this is now a 6 by 9 piece of paper. Has 1-inch margins. Okay. We'll deal with the margins very shortly, but for now, I want to deal with this. Now, when we looked at the other document, we had a cover page, we had a copyright page, we had a table of contents, we had a dedication, then we had the text. So let me do this. Let me put a return here. I'm sorry, not a return. My bad. Undo that. We just put a regular return. Now, why did it do that? Why did it create this whole page? Remember when we set up the table, the heading 1, the heading 1 is designed, it will start on a new page. So it did this for me. But what I want to do is go to breaks, and this is, you get used to this little drop down. Breaks, next page. Boom. Okay. Let me do it a second time. I'll tell you why in a second. Next page. And by this, when I have this set, I can see them all. Okay, so I'm going to set up breaks, next page. Okay, now let's go to the first page. I'm just going to give it the title. Okay, I had it on the wrong side of that. Return. Let's put this in. Okay. Come on, let's not worry about that. Okay. Now, I just want this to be text for now. Later on, just put this both as text. Later on, we'll modify this. Okay. Then I'll put copyright. Make that text as well. And then go to the next one and put table of contents. And I'll show you. Let's just insert the table of contents. We'll come back to this. Okay, we'll modify this to make it look the way you can make this look exactly as you want it to look. So we'll come back to it, but I just want to set it up. And the reason it has these 4 chapters are these are the 4 chapters where we put the heading 1 style at the beginning. Dismissed, going to America, City of Paris, and then later on, way later, we found another one. Okay, so that's boom. So new. Okay, so I'm going to forget about all of this stuff before this spot, this new section. I learned that I learned that by mistake, by the way. If you hit that little, you hit that, it makes this disappear, so you can just look at all your chapter titles. I don't know how useful that is. Okay. Now, as I said, when I was showing you guys a document, there are 3 things of significance. There's the first page of the chapter, even page and odd page. And I'm not even sure what is what here. So what I want to do here, here's how you make Here's how you make headers. It's a little bit, it's basically you can make footer, you put page numbers and footers, headers, it doesn't matter, but you want to be more creative in what it says. So just go into the header area and all of a sudden you're in the header. Go to the, you can go to, and you go page number, format page number. Okay, this is the first chapter. So you want to start it at 1. We'll come back to this. Start at 1, hit OK. And go, I skipped a step, current position, put it there. Okay, there's page 1. Okay. Page number. Okay, now what you have page 1. You see, let me make it so you can see it. Page, there's page 1, page 2. Oh, page 3 has nothing. Page 4 has something. And let me explain that. And this is very important. This is really important. Okay, you want to go into the just anywhere in the text. Remember I mentioned the layout. Go to layout, page setup, and what you're doing is layout. Okay. Normally, I'm afraid sorry, I made a mistake. I did not clear this out. So normally it appears like this. Okay, okay. Now you'll see what it looks like. All the page numbers are gone. So let's go back to where we were. Okay, so you want to go in the document. Want to go to layout, page setup, and here's what you want to do. Different odd and even. Remember I said that, and then different first page. Those are the 3 different sections, and apply this to the whole document. Okay, boom. All right, that's Emma. So bear with her for a second. So now footnotes, those headers are back with the page numbers. And now let's put the page number in on the even pages, which is page number, current position, boom. Okay. So when we go to, we see 3. Let me get rid of this so you can see more clearly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now, where this is the first page. Remember, we did the setup so that the first page is different from the other pages. So if I do this, all I need to do is delete that page number. Gone. Page numbers stay the same for all the others. We saw that when we set it up, you have to set the headers with the page numbers separately for the even and the odd. Okay, and while I'm talking about that, I might as well do it. The even will have the author's name. Do this. Boom, boom, to make a look good tab and put my name. And the even will have the title on the so we'll do this. There'll be hope this work. Boom, boom. We will talk about, about this later, okay? Because as you saw in the other one, these both will be centered. This will be on the left margin as it currently is, and this will be on the right margin. The rest of the book, that's what it says. However, we said we did not want this on the beginning of a chapter, and the way to do that, get rid of that, is simply, as we did earlier, to put in a section break next page. Now it puts in an extra return. So all you have to do is hit delete. That's all I'm doing. Is hit delete, boom. Now we see no page number. But this is important. We've got to pay attention here. Page 2. Okay. So here's what we have to do. And once you do this once, you're done. Okay. What you're doing is you're saying page number format. Okay. Continue from previous section. Boom. Page 6, page 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoop. Again, exact same thing we did with the second chapter. Go here, go to the very last character of the chapter. Layout is install. Next page, boom, hit that delete. I'm just hitting the delete button. You can't see it, but I'm hitting the delete button to get rid of that. Bingo. Nothing on that page. Basically, right now, this document is just about ready to go. And I mean that seriously. So let me just do this next chapter all the way through. First paragraph, House of Mercy, which is actually a real place on Houston Street in Manhattan. It was a real place on Houston Street in Manhattan. Go to the last character, the prior, breaks, next page, hit the delete, boom. And how does that end up looking? We can see, get this to work, where's my mouse? We can see this is the city of Paris, nothing on the top, page numbers, continue. Bingo. There you go. House of Mercy, same thing, same deal. This is how it works, how sections work. I'll do one last thing for this. If I can get it to work again, come on. Now I mentioned that this did the exact same thing. I have a section break here, which you can see right here, and I set it up, go here. But this one, okay, remember we had the other one, format page number. For the other ones, we had to make it continue from the previous section, but for this first paragraph, first chapter, I wanted to start at 1. So that's why I did that. Now you say, wait a minute. Let's do this. This will be the last thing I'll do. Let's say we're going to start it's a little tricky. I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to pretend this is the first, because the table of contents only has a few things. It doesn't go multiple pages. I'm going to pretend this is the first page of the table of contents. Okay, so which means I have to get rid of this. No, which means I have to put something before here. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of winging this here. If that works. Oh, they're there. Okay. See, it's picked up the header from the rest of the document, and this is an even number page, so it has that header. But I don't want it to have that header, so I go into the header, and we just did something in the formatting of a page number. All I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to a little Roman number. Okay, boom. Now notice, because when I formatted here, I said format, I said start at 1, basically it ignores what's in the prior section. So anything I did here is different from here. And that's why it matters. I'll do one last thing, which is back to the layout. Now you can see this is kind of crazy. So what I want to do is custom margins for the whole document. Okay. I have to hit mirror images because I'm doing odd and even pages. And top, 1 is fine. I like to go to 0.6, and you can experiment with what works. And I'm going to go, the inside will be 0.8, and the outside will be 0.6. Okay, boom. Here you go. Okay, this is how it looks in the book. The inside margin is bigger than the outside margin. A tip with KDP, you can get very quickly a proof. Not if you get an author's copy, it takes weeks and weeks, but if you want a proof, you get it in less than a week. And the 2 things to focus on are the margin when the actual document comes to you, when the book comes to you, and the font size to make sure they work. So there we have different fonts, the different margins for the book. Different lower margin, and it applies to the whole, I set it to apply to the whole book, okay? Now you'll see there are issues with this in the margin. There's issue with this, the headers. There's an issue with this header. There's an issue with this header, and they will ultimately be fixed. And ultimately, you will have this centered, this on the right margin for an odd number page, this centered, and you don't have to worry about this because it automatically is on the margin. And it will end up looking, as I said, like this, centered on the margin. At the left, centered at the margin. That's how it will, that's how this document will ultimately look. But for now, pretty well all I have to say. And we'll see what happens, and we'll see what happens with the next one. So thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments, or you can get in touch with me through